Let me begin with a small question. Imagine you are 12 years old, standing in a class in Oklahoma, America, surrounded by children who have grown up in a world completely different from yours. Your name sounds strange to them. Your accent sounds strange. Even the stories you tell about your home sound unbelievable. One afternoon, your teacher smiles warmly and says, "Khusro, why don't you tell the class about Iran?" The class turns towards you, some curious, some amused, and from the back of the room, someone whispers just loud enough to be heard, "Persians are liars." Khusro hears it. For a moment, he says nothing. Then he takes a breath and begins. "In my country, we tell stories," he says slowly, "because stories help us remember who we are." And so begins the story of Khusro's life. You want to listen? Come on, come with me and listen to Khusro's life in Iran and then in America. One of the first memories Khusro shares goes all the way back when he was 3 years old, sitting in the back seat of his father's car as the car sped across a dusty Iranian road towards the village where his grandfather lived. Khusro's father was excited that day, driving a little faster than usual. "We will reach Baba Haji's house soon," his father said proudly. Khusro's mother laughed softly and handed pieces of pistachio cardamom cake to the children in the back seat. When they finally arrived, the courtyard of the house was full of noise. Men were shouting. Something large was moving wildly in the middle of the courtyard. Who was it? A bull. A bull had broken loose and was charging dangerously. Little Khusro clutched his stuffed toy sheep, whose name was Mr. Sheep, and watched with wide eyes. Then Khusro's grandfather, Baba Haji, stepped forward. Calmly he came, took a knife, and in one quick movement the bull collapsed. Yes, Baba Haji killed the bull. For a moment the animal seemed to look directly at Khusro, and the boy felt something strange and terrible. For years he would remember that moment and carry a guilt deep inside him. The next story that Khusro tells is years later, when something happened that changed the direction of Khusro's life and his family's life completely. The family traveled to London for a wedding. Khusro's little sister was left at a daycare while the adults prepared for the ceremony. That afternoon, an accident occurred. A child tricked Khusro's sister into placing her finger inside the hinge of a door, and then he slammed it shut. Oh no, Khusro's sister's finger was completely severed, completely broken. She was quickly rushed to the hospital, and that night in the hospital, she looked strangely calm. Khusro sat beside her bed and asked quietly, "Sister, does it hurt?" She shook her head and whispered, "I saw someone." "Who?" Khusro asked. "Jesus." Khusro frowned. "Are you sure?" His sister shrugged. "He was shining. Jesus was shining like an angel." For Khusro it sounded confusing, but for their mother, something deeper happened that night. Soon afterward, she made a decision that shocked everyone. Their mother converted to Christianity. In Iran, this was extremely dangerous. When Khusro asked her why she had done it, she answered simply, "Because sometimes when you believe something in your heart, you cannot pretend otherwise." Come to the next story. Staying a Christian and in Iran was dangerous, and to save themselves from danger, the family of Khusro left Iran, except for their father, who stayed back. Yes, The day they left Iran was full of confusion and fear. At the airport, Khusro held his stuffed sheep tightly. His mother knelt beside him and said, "Khusro, we cannot take Mr. Sheep with us." The boy's eyes widened. "Why not?" The mother replied, "At the airport, they will cut your Mr. Sheep open, looking for drugs or something inside. Mr. Sheep will be completely destroyed." Khusro looked down at the toy. "But he will be all alone, mother." His mother touched his hair gently. "Sometimes we must leave things behind to survive." So the boy walked into a nearby field and placed the toy carefully on the grass. Then he turned and walked away. Another story is about their journey from Iran to America. It was not direct. It led them first to Dubai and then to a refugee camp in Italy, where life became an endless wait filled with paperwork and uncertainty. At the Italian refugee camp, Khusro met a teenager named Ali. Ali had scars covering half his body. "What happened to you?" Khusro asked quietly. Ali shrugged and replied, "War happened." "But come," Ali said, "I will show you something better." He climbed a tree and tossed down 2 peaches. "Rule number 1 of refugee life," Ali said, laughing. "If you see a fruit, take it." Ali became Khusro's first real friend in exile. But one day, something happened. Ali disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. And people from refugee camps would disappear just like that. Come to the last leg of the story that Khusro tells. Eventually, the family arrived in Oklahoma, where life began again. But school was difficult, kids mocked his accent, teachers struggled with his name. At home, things became even more complicated because his mother married another man named Ray or Rahim. At first, Ray seemed helpful, but slowly Khusro noticed something darker. One night, he heard shouting from the living room and then a crash. His sister whispered gently, "Stay here." Later, their mother came into the room with a swollen face. Khusro asked quietly, "Did Ray hurt you? Did that stepfather hurt you?" She forced a deep smile and said, "No, it's nothing. Go to sleep." But Khusro knew the truth. Years passed, and then one day something extraordinary happened. Khusro's real father, with whom he had a connection on the telephone, came to America to visit him. At the airport, the boy stared at his father in disbelief. His father looked older, shorter, and grayer. But when they hugged, it still felt familiar. Later that evening, Khusro's father opened his suitcase. "I bought you something, my child." And from the bag, he pulled out a small stuffed toy. Who was this? Mr. Sheep! This toy had been cut open and stitched back together, just at the airport, as Khusro's mother had said. His father smiled awkwardly. "Security searched Mr. Sheep, but I fixed it for you." Khusro held the toy tightly. It felt like holding a piece of his childhood again. Years later, sitting quietly with his mother one night, Khusro asked the question that had haunted him for long. "Mama, do you remember the bull my grandfather killed, Baba Haji?" She nodded. "Did he kill it for me, Mama?" She said, "No, my son. The bull had gone mad. It was attacking workers. Your grandfather killed it to protect everyone." Khusro sat there quietly for a long moment, and then he realized something important. Memories are not always perfect. Stories change, but stories still help us understand our lives. And perhaps that is why he keeps telling them. Because when a person loses a country, a home, and pieces of their past, stories become the threads that hold everything together. And through those stories, slowly, patiently, a broken life can begin to feel whole again. Wow, what is the power of storytelling? Can you tell me about your favorite story also? I love the stories that I narrate to you. This is Heena from Tell a Tale with Heena. For more such stories, please continue visiting my channel. Thank you.